Good morning. Thank you. My name is Penny Scholler, and I'm the president of the board here at the center, and I'm filling in for Reverend Pam. She's on vacation, and our other practitioners are on vacation. So, it's my joy to welcome you all here this morning. Whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We know there's many paths to God, and we recognize that all these paths end in oneness and in love. And we're grateful that each one of you are here today. Our center's purpose is love, and our vision is embracing all and serving with love while awakening with the one. And if you'll read with me our receptivity statement. I am here by divine appointment. Something I'm about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. And now it's time for Jahred, our musician, and he comes to us from Hawaii. And so could you all help me just welcome Jahred Namaste.
Good morning. You got your story and I got mine. And somehow it turned out just fine. All things heal in time. There are only blessings here. There are only blessings here. I'm not saying it don't get hard. We've all felt our lives come and fall apart. But we've got this moment that's a great place to start. There are only blessings here. There are only blessings here. And the love of my mother is real. And the love of my father is real. And the love of my mother is real. And the love of my father is real. And the love of my mother is real. And the love of my father is real. There are only blessings here. 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 You got your story and I've got mine. Yet somehow it turned out just fine. For all things heal in time. There are only blessings here. There are only blessings here. There are only blessings here. There are only blessings.
Beautiful, Jahred. There are only blessings here. And now I'd like to introduce our practitioner of the day, Carol Dalbon. And Carol comes to us from Sacramento, and she is actually one of the founding members of this center way back in the day. So it's a joy to welcome Carol Dalbon for our reading and invocation.
Thank you, Penny. Good morning, everyone. This month's theme is called Playing with Paradox. And Reverend Rick will be speaking on the topic, Walking the Road Less Traveled. And he has chosen a reading from The Road to Success by Florence Scovel Shinn. Shinn, I keep wanting to say, I can't even read my own writing, Shinn. She wrote books in the 20s and 30s that were popular in New Thought. And went along with Ernest Holmes. And this is an excerpt from chapter 6 called The Fork in the Road. Every day there is a necessity of choice, a fork in the road. Shall I do this or shall I do that? Shall I go or shall I stay? Many people do not know what to do. They rush about, letting other people make decisions for them, then regret having taken their advice. There are others who carefully reason things out. They weigh and measure the situation like dealing in groceries and are surprised when they fail to attain their goal. There are still other people who follow the magic path of intuition and find themselves in their promised land in the twinkling of an eye. Intuition is a spiritual faculty high above the reasoning mind, but on that path is all that you desire or require. So choose this day to follow the magic path of intuition. A well-known man who has become a great power in the financial world said to a friend, I always follow intuition and I am back incarnate. And I am luck incarnate, sorry. Inspiration, which is divine guidance, is the most important thing in life. People come to truth meetings for inspiration. I find the right word will start divine activity operating in their affairs. With spiritual law, there is only the now. Before you call, you are answered. For time and space are but a dream, and your blessing is there waiting for you to release it by faith and the word. Choose you this day whom ye shall serve. Fear or faith, it takes much strength and courage to trust God. We often trust him in little things, but when it comes to a big situation, we feel we had better attend to it ourselves than come to defeat and failure. I have a statement in my book, God makes a way where there is no way. God makes a way for you when everyone is telling you it can't be done. All big ideas meet with opposition. Do not let other people rock your boat. Follow the path of wisdom and understanding, and turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. With the realization of wealth, we receive the gift of wealth. With the realization of success, we receive the gift of success. For success and abundance are states of mind. Misfortune is due to failure to stick to the things which Spirit has revealed through intuition. All big things have been accomplished by men who attack their big ideas. Henry Ford was past middle age when the idea of the Ford car came to him. He had a difficulty in raising the money. His friends thought it was a crazy idea. His father said to him tearfully, Henry, why do you give up a good job in order to choose a crazy idea? But no one could rock Henry Ford's boat. So as we reach the fork in the road today, let us fearlessly follow the voice of intuition. The Bible calls it the still small voice. There came a voice behind me saying, this is the way, walk in it. On this path is the good already prepared for you. I am divinely led. I follow the right fork in the road. God makes a way where there is no way. I love that. I am going to try to find that book. So yeah, it's called, let's see, where is it? The Road to Success. So now knowing that this road to success is mine right now, right here, because of the presence of Spirit in my life. And I know this is true for everyone here. And I see it with people I meet every day. The Spirit within them just waiting to explode. in beauty, in love, in joy, intelligence, wisdom, all of these traits and more are mine for the asking, for the taking. And it's for everyone, everywhere present and available to everyone, no matter who they are. So I know that this is the following that this is what I believe. So I know that it comes out in my life in many ways, many opportunities, new friends, joy, love, laughter, all of these things, along with the sometimes sad things that we know about. We give these people love and attention and support them. And this is the way we show God's love. So I'm grateful for everyone here present, attending online and in person, and especially for our guest speaker, Reverend Rick Kearney, and our Penny Scholler for being in the MC, and our musician who's on not online, but he's on video from Hawaii. So I give great thanks and gratitude for all of these people who are involved in today's service and attending, knowing all is well. I let these words go into the mind of God, and so it is. And now we come back to Jahred again.
Join me here for a moment in this place where the music puts our mind at ease and our souls can be at peace, where the rhythm hits your body, oh, like, and our hearts and minds expand in melody. Join me here where we all just get along and life is pure and simple and everyone belongs. Did you know you are beautiful? That's what my eyes see. And if we are all reflection, then the same must be true of me. Or join me here. Join me here for a moment in this place where the music puts our minds at ease and our souls can be at peace, where the rhythm hits your body, oh, and our hearts and minds expand in melody. Join me here where we all just get along. Life is pure and simple and everyone belongs. Did you know you are beautiful? That's what my eyes see. And if we are all reflections, then the same must be true of me. Or join me here. Join me here. Join me here. Join me here. Join me here.
now it's time to introduce our guest speaker today. He's our own Rick. Used to be our Rick here at the center, but we still feel he's one of our beloveds. So, Rick Kearney, and I'm just going to read his bio here. Rick Kearney is a licensed Center for Spiritual Living minister and board certified chaplain who provides spiritual care to the patients, their families, and the staff of the Tahoe Forest Health System. He serves alongside doctors, nurses, and medical specialists on their interdisciplinary teams that are created to promote a holistic approach in caring for each patient. His role as the primary spiritual caregiver crosses all major components of the health system and includes the Tahoe Forest Hospital, Cancer Center, Long-Term Care Center, home health, and hospice services. Prior to working for Tahoe Forest, Rick served as the director of For Goodness Sake, a non-denominational spiritual resource center based in Truckee, and he was our associate minister. Chaplain Rick and his wife Marie live in Truckee and are celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary this coming Wednesday, October 11th. His talk today is entitled Walking the Road Less Traveled By. Let's welcome Rick.
Thank you, Penny, and thank you all for inviting me to speak here today. I've been very eager to get back to the center I love so much and to be able to meet with you and to tell you on all the things that have been happening in my life since you saw me standing here last. Yeah, 2 years ago, just about, is when I made my fork in the road type decision. Actually, it was made for me, and I just listened. Like Carol mentioned, that's small, still voice. It literally whispered in my ear. And life hasn't been the same since then. There's been so many changes, so many experiences, so many opportunities for growth that have occurred that I've been blown away by it all. And I still can't completely understand it, but that's okay. It's been this change in me that has taken me, I say, to the next level. And I'll be telling you a little bit about some of those experiences in particular that told me that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But I guess before we get too far down the road, you have to understand what a chaplain is. A chaplain is a minister who goes through additional training, a whole year's worth of training to become a chaplain. And that involves over 300 hours of classroom type instruction, as well as 1,200 hours of on-the-job training at a hospital where there is an existing chaplain and you're essentially interning with this more senior person who gives you opportunities for growth and feedback, whether you want it or not. My internship was at Renown Hospital in Reno, a major regional medical center, 800 beds with all types of specialties and activities going on. And Reverend Chaplain Brent Hoy Bianchi was my mentor there. And thankfully, I didn't have to go it alone because there were some others who were going through their chaplaincy internship as well. And as a group, we bonded closely and shared with each other the things we had seen and done and learned and the mistakes we had made and gotten advice from each other. But it was a great opportunity. In addition to all of this training and education came the requirement to have what they call ecclesiastical endorsement, which is a $10 word for getting the approval of the home office. I had it from the CSL, the others had it from their church communities, because chaplaincy is not just one faith tradition. You don't focus on just your own. You need to be ready to walk into a room and support somebody from an entirely different background, whether that be religious or non-religious, spiritual or non-spiritual. That person relies on you to talk and help them on their way forward, their path. And so being familiar with other major faith traditions, other spiritual traditions, and getting to talk with folks who don't particularly have anything in their background was a major part of what I learned along the way. And we learned to be part of a clinical team at a hospital. I mean, literally working side by side, elbow to elbow with doctors and nurses and anesthesiologists and physical therapists and social workers and psychologists. The list goes on and on. But your role there is to represent the spiritual side of things, because there's a spiritual side to every person, whether they choose to develop that or not. That was an eye-opener for me. And many times I was the person who was needed in that particular uh, case. Speaking of cases, you know, you watch the medical TV shows and they talk about this patient and that patient, this case and that case. We had cases also. We were required to document as much as we could verbatim what was said in every encounter with on a given day. And we shared with each other and with our instructors some of the more interesting ones. And I think it'd be helpful for you if I were to actually talk you through one of those case studies. And this was about a little more than a year ago now. I was still interning, but I was far enough along that they let me off on my own, let me off the leash. And this day we were shorthanded because I was the only intern along with Reverend Brent. And so I was designated as the house chaplain, meaning that I had to respond to anything that was of an emergency nature within the hospital. And sure enough, something did. It was in the early morning hours. I had just about gotten there, had my cup of coffee, and all of a sudden, over the speaker system, code blue, cardiac ward. Code blue is a signal that somebody's heart had stopped and they needed resuscitation now. So knowing that, especially in a case where there's life and death possibilities at least, that I would be needed. So I dashed out the door, ran down the hall, climbed up the 7 flights of stairs to get to the cardiac ward, and arriving out of breath myself, I found that I was the last person to arrive. Already within the patient's room, there were at least a dozen doctors and nurses and cardiologists, people with the paddles, people with the oxygen, and they were wearing armbands to tell each other what their role is in that particular event. They had this down to almost a military precision, who does what in what order, and who was giving orders, who was giving directions, of course, and that was the chief doctor and the chief nurse. Seeing that the patient, who was a woman who was there to get a heart operation scheduled the next day, that the medical team was frantically trying to bring her back, I realized that my role was not there at the bedside. But something told me, I don't know where it came from, something told me, where is he? Where is he? So I turned to the nurse and I said, where is he? Oh, the husband, he's over here. He's in the hallway, sitting by himself. That's where I needed to be. So I went and sat next to him, and I introduced myself, who I was, what I do, why I'm there. I asked him his name, and he was in a state of shock. He was clearly having the worst day of his life, because the one he loved had just taken her last breath. And I sat next to him, and again, I don't know what caused me to do it, but I put my arm on his shoulder, and I said, is there anything I can do? And he looked to me and he said, yeah, can we say a prayer? Say a prayer that she be saved. And of course, and I asked him, is it a Christian prayer? And that's it. The answer is yes, 9 out of 10 times. And so I gave a prayer for her healing and her recovery, and that divine guidance come to the doctors and nurses as they do what they do. But again, inside me came something else. But Lord, if this is the day that you call her home, may we be brave enough to let her go. May we have the strength to live until we see her again. Amen. And there was a long pause. And he turned to me and he said, you know, it was just last week that we talked about this, that we would agree that if she didn't survive the operation, that she didn't want to be living a life hooked up to machines. She didn't want to be a burden. She wanted me to let her go. I said, that's good that you know that. It's good that you talked about that, because now there's no question in your mind. And as we were talking, as we sat, I noticed that it was taking quite a while for anybody to come out of that room, that they were clearly still working in there, and that it wasn't going well. But still, I closed my eyes and said a spiritual mind treatment for her. But it was not to be. The doctor came down to where we were, and she stood, and we stood, and she explained that they were able to revive her heart 3 separate times, but every time they started it, that stopped once again, and they started it and it stopped, and they started it and it stopped. And now she came to him to ask him, what did he want us to do? We, the medical team. If we were to revive her, she would not be the same. It's been too long without her brain getting any oxygen. It's been too long. She would be hooked up to a machine. And the husband looked to me, didn't say anything, then looked back to the doctor and said, it's time to let her go. It's time to let her go. This is what she wanted. And so the doctor said, thank you. I agree with your decision. We'll go disconnect her from the machines. We'll clean her up, and just give me a few minutes and we'll have you come in to say your goodbyes. And as the doctor walked away, the husband turned to me and said, was that selfish of me? And I asked, what do you mean selfish? She told you what she wanted. You gave her that wish. There's nothing selfish about that. Okay. A minute or so goes by, and the doctor reemerges from the room and waves us down. And I meant to walk with him just to the door. But when we got to the door, he said, no, I want you with me. I want you to come inside. All of the medical team had cleared out by this time, but yet they lingered in the hallway. So we walked over to the bed, and he sat down next to her bed and held her lifeless hand. And he turns to me and said, can you give her a blessing on her way to heaven? Of course I can. And I gave her the blessing, looked to him and said, this is your time to say all those things you need to say. And I'm going to step outside this door, but I'll be right there if you need me. So you tell her you love her. Tell her you miss her already. Tell her that you'll see her again. And so I turned and I walked out, and I walked out the door to see at least 12, 15 different faces looking at me. They had been standing at the door listening to it all. And I noticed there was somebody off in the corner by herself, uh, a young woman. She had on a nurse uniform, the scrubs, and she was softly crying. And I was kind of softly crying myself, to be honest. And I noticed that no one was speaking to her. No one else of that whole group was paying her any attention. And so I felt led to walk over towards her, stopping about 3 feet away. Are you okay? Yeah, was the answer, which I did not believe. And again, from within or without, the words out of my lips were, would a hug help you? I just opened my arms. She came over and we embraced. And as I look over her shoulder, I see everybody's eyes on us. And I did this, waving my hands, encouraging them to join. The social worker said, let's all give a hug. And that team came and put their arms around us. Later on, I learned from the head nurse, they had never done that before. But it was incredibly therapeutic. Because in her words, while a patient is still living, we got to hold ourselves together. But when the patient is beyond our help, we need to be respectful and respect ourselves. Well, you can imagine that after this experience that my legs were like jelly. I was emotionally spent, spiritually exhausted, and I knew that I was not going to be any good for anybody, at least for a little while. And I got inspired yet again in this process, and the word babies came to mind. Babies, I need babies. I headed off to the nursery, and at the nursery, the nurses knew me, and they saw me. Would you like to sit down for a while? Just sit down right here and be around the sounds of life, new life, fresh, clean life. And I was there for at least 15 minutes or so, soaking it all in, soaking in the sounds of the babies, the sounds of the young parents, feeding babies, changing diapers, doing all the things young parents do. And I was restored. That is one of the most life-changing events in my chaplaincy experience thus far, because I knew that I had done it right. I knew that I had helped not just the husband, not just the nurse, but all of those who were involved in this. You know, our time on earth is always shorter than we expect, we hope. But by being there when someone passed and being there for those who loved her and helped her, that I was doing good in the world. There are other things I do. When I meet with patients, sometimes I say prayers, sometimes I give blessings. I have actually, presided at some ceremonies. Holding on to, I also counsel people individually and in groups. We have a spiritual support group for those who are challenged by their medical situation. There's a grief support group that's aimed at the staff. That's because they have to hold it together and later on do their grieving. There's also intervention. Intervention when it need to do more than listen, but to help a person to see the choices that they have available to make. In another case study, I was called to visit with a woman who had attempted suicide and failed, obviously. Uh, but she had asked to see the chaplain, and I wasn't quite sure why. I could tell from her medical record that she was a member of a Christian denomination, about 50 years old. And upon arriving at her hospital room, I found a person sitting at the open door looking inward. She was on suicide watch. Most of the equipment that are normally in a hospital room had been taken out. It was simply the bed, a chair, and a table for medications and her meals. She was curled up in a fetal position, facing away from the door, so she wouldn't make eye contact with the watcher. And when I knocked and entered, she mumbled, "Come in," but she didn't look up. She didn't turn to face me. I just walked in and sat in the chair. That's the only thing I could think to do. And I asked, how can I help you today? You asked to see me. And her words, "I've ruined my connection with God." Do you care to explain? What do you mean you ruined your connection with God? I tried to take my life. I'm never going to be close to God again. I see. I want you to start. Tell me what happened. And so she related the story that her husband has stage 4 lung cancer. Her teenage son is a drug addict. She had been providing the care for them both for years and had had enough. She has clinical depression and doesn't see how she could possibly get through this. And so as I listened, I could see that this was a plea for help. This was a plea for advice. When she was done, she said to me, because I tried to commit suicide, that I'll never go to heaven. I'll never be close to God again. Oh, really? I really had to I recognized that due to her experience, which was an extreme experience, of course, that she was not really thinking things through. I could just tell that she wanted to hear something. And I suspected that she was looking to me as like this religious authority who would chastise her, condemn her, yell at her perhaps. And she was tensed up. She was still in this ball as I started to speak. And I said, "You need to understand something. The God I know loves you. The God I know would never turn his back on you." And she started to slowly turn to face me for the first time. But I tried to commit suicide. God loves you. There's nothing you can do or say that's going to change that. That is, God loves you just as you are. And, we all make mistakes. Some are more extreme than others. But let me tell you something. The leadership of your church, and I had familiarity, they do not support suicide. They don't encourage suicide. But they know that people who have serious illnesses sometimes take their own lives. And they're not to be condemned, not to be cast out. You have nothing to fear in that department. But I had to really lead her by the hand at this point, and say, you yourself told me you have clinical depression. You yourself told me that you've been hospitalized for your depression, that you weren't in your right mind when you made the attempt. The church does not condemn you. I don't condemn you. Remember that Bible story I said to her? Do you remember that Bible story where there was a woman who was caught with someone not her husband, and she was in the circle about to be stoned, and Jesus said, he who is without any sin cast the first stone. And one by one, the men dropped their stones and walked away. She remembered that story. Do you remember what Jesus said at the end of that story? He said, there's no one here condemns you. I don't condemn you. Just go and sin no more. Think, how would that apply in your life? Well, I should go, take my meds, see my doctors. That's right. That's right. By this time, she was now sitting up on the edge of her bed, facing me, and thinking much more clearly than when I first walked in the room. So normally a chaplain does not get to that level of intervention, but in this case, the sense was that's what she needed, and I pray that she's doing well. That's the bad part of this. I help people. I develop a personal connection, but I don't see them again after they leave. I can only pray that they are well. Anyway, you've heard me talk long enough. Let me just kind of summarize some of the things that I've learned along the way. Number one is to listen to that small, still voice. That is the God within speaking, the God within guiding. It's incredible how the doors just opened for me when I decided to listen to that. When I finished my schooling, the director of the Tahoe Forest Cancer Center came up to me one day and said, we'd like you to apply for this job we're creating. It'll be our very first staff chaplain, and you'd be the perfect guy. It'd be perfect. Would you be interested? Yes, I'd be interested. That's my call. That's my path, the fork and the road. You have to remember that God works through us. It is the way that it works, that working through us, it's not Rick who's making these things happen. It's God. That God is using my hands, using my voice, using my presence to heal the sick, to comfort the grieving. And that the world needs us. The world needs us to be that presence, to allow this to happen, to share our skills and to help those who need us so very much. So I encourage you all to do so in any way possible. Do what you can, where you can, and just like the butterfly effect, the force of 1,000 million, hundreds of millions of butterflies going to change this world for the better. Please join me in a prayer. There is just one source, one God, creator of all, working in and through us, as us, and that the love of this God is infinite. The power of this God is beyond all measure. Nothing it cannot do. And that is also true of us when we allow the Spirit to use us. So we go forth this day, listening for that small, still voice, taking the road less traveled, and being a force for good in the world. I release my word into the law, knowing it's already acted upon. It cannot be denied. I give great thanks, and so it is.
Goodness, Rick. Well, it's a joy for me to see, wow, that you listen to that small, still voice. And this is truly your calling. And boy, those people are lucky to have you. And I can tell that you're blessed in return by being with them. I think we have Jahred one more time. Okay.
Join me here for a moment in this place where the music puts our mind at ease and our souls can be at peace, where the rhythm hits your body, oh, like, and our hearts and minds expand in melody. Join me here where we all just get along and life is pure and simple. In my Father's house, so many, many mansions. He sets a place for us at the table. And upon this earth, so many, many nations. We can live in peace, I know we are able, oh, to have a peaceful world now. We can have a peaceful world, yeah, yeah. There's nothing that we cannot do, nothing that we cannot be now. There's nothing that we cannot do, nothing that we cannot be now. Nothing that we cannot do, nothing that we cannot be. Let us claim peace now with this God force energy, so that our children and our children's children and our children's children's children can dwell in peace, and we can have a peaceful world now. I believe in a peaceful world, yeah. For it's not about smiting some evil outside, but revealing the light within. Our souls shine brightly with the light of Christ, and the waters of life flow through our veins. There's nothing that we cannot do, nothing that we cannot be. Let us claim peace now with this so that our children and our children's children and our children's children's children can dwell in peace. So that our children and our children's children and our children's children's children can dwell in peace. And we can have a peaceful world now. I believe in a peaceful world, yeah, yeah. Peace be still, peace be still, peace be. Peace be still, peace be still, peace be still. For these things that I pray for myself, I pray for you as well. In the highest heaven upon this earth, I know we shall dwell. For it's not about smiting some evil outside, but revealing the light within. Our souls shine brightly with the light of Christ, and the waters of life flow through our veins. There is nothing that we cannot do, nothing that we cannot be. Nothing that we cannot do, nothing that we cannot be, no. Peace be still.
Thank you, Jahred. So now is our prosperity time. And at CSL, we know that God is our source and for our center and for each of us as individuals. So if you were inspired by today's gathering, please consider sharing your abundance with our spiritual community. Donations of your time, talent, and treasure to our center support our vision of embracing all, serving with love while awakening to the One. We're extremely grateful when you show your gratitude that CSLTT is continuing to make a difference in your lives in the community. There's lots of ways to give. Cash, checks, automatic debit from your checking account. And on our website, you can make a donation using the PayPal link. And we have Venmo as well. So here's our affirmation. So hold your offering over your heart. In everything I give thanks. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering, which flows from God, my infinite source. My gift blesses this center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. Where did Sue? Oh. Okay.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
I need. So I just give great thanks for this blessing of these offerings, and we know that they go out into the community and do great works, and they support our center so that we can continue to be in the community and sharing God's love with everyone. Okay, what's next? So we're just welcome. I'm going to welcome everyone who's here. We don't have any new people in the sanctuary, so I can skip this part. So I want to thank Reverend Rick this morning and Patricia. Patricia's doing hospitality, and Karen, thank you for doing the AV. And our practitioner, Carol Dalbon. Thank you, Carol. and Jahred Namaste. And just a side note, Jahred is a practitioner with our centers. And I love the words if you just really listen to his songs. It's wonderful. Okay, now it's time for announcements. I don't know if we have slides or not. Okay. Wait, let me find that. Okay, next week, Reverend Pam will be speaking on getting comfortable with discomfort. The practitioner will be Michael Brandman, and the musician will be Subra Doyle. Okay, check out our website. You can watch some of our Sunday gatherings and meditations and on our website and on our YouTube channel. And this week, this week we're really excited. Our e-bike group is going to be fabulous. It is different than what we had put up, but this is the correct slide. So on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, we're meeting at Wednesday, I'm sorry, because we changed it. We're meeting at Baldwin Beach, and we're riding to Camp Richardson and Fallen Leaf Lake. And the meeting site is Baldwin Beach parking lot closest to the beach. And then we have free yoga class with Charlotte Peters, who's our admin. And it continues on Tuesdays from 5 to 6. It's free, and it's being held at the Tahoe Wellness Center in Kings Beach. And during the series, she will take a deep dive into what yoga is and teach the different aspects of yoga, such as breathing practices, movement, meditation, how to set an intention, alignment techniques, deep relaxation, and much more. So if you have any questions, you can get in touch with her. And then on the new moon, October 12th, we have our Jackie, who's a member of our center, and she's over at the Wellness Center too. And the red tent, it's just a really beautiful gathering. We have food first, and then just a beautiful gathering of women just sharing. Okay, our next Saturday cleanup, 267, is at 9 o'clock, October 21st. And I believe this might be our last cleanup, but it's fun. You know, we just meet, and we've been doing it for years, and they do now give us a stipend, which is wonderful. So if you're interested, join us. The Infinite You, oh yes, okay, where is that? I don't know if I have that. Well, everyone read it. I don't have it on mine, but it's going to be beautiful. So anyway, okay, we haven't come to the class yet. Oh, it was? Oh, darn. Okay, so that class, You as the Universe, is being canceled, just with all that's going on. And we only had 4 people sign up, so Reverend Pam thinks it's best if we just cancel that for now. Ongoing drop-in classes. We have Tai Chi with Chris Worcester on Thursdays, and then after that, at 4:30, we have Mary McKinney's Ananda meditation, and then on Friday, Sue Pipel leads Course of Love. Okay, now we have our children. If you'll say with me, please. We see you, we hear you, we love you. You are a gift from God. Okay. Well, okay. I guess we have the song now. Well, it says Practitioner's Introduction. Well, okay. Carol's our practitioner today. Rick, you're a practitioner. So if you need prayer for things that are wonderful in your life or things that are challenging, you can talk to Reverend Rick or Carol online. Okay, now we have our song. I'm going to stand over here so I can see. so little. Well, you should just have, you know.
We are here, literally, as expressions of God in individual form. Let us remember that as we go forth from this place, and remember that wherever we go, we're setting a divine